That's what she said.
Serve it up.
And the first part wasn't even recorded.
Oh no! Which is even better because it just cuts into me losing my mind.
So, my wife recently asked me to stop singing Wonderwall, and I said maybe. I said maybe.
You're gonna be the one that saves me.
I don't know the song lyrics. I don't get the joke.
Oh, way to ruin the joke, David.
I have a shirt that
I can never remember song lyrics. Just never.
I have a shirt that says Wonderwall, and it's got like the sound waves on it. And anytime I wear it, I always walk up to my wife and I'm like, anyways, here's Wonderwall. She's like, God, I hate you. Yeah. So, everyone, welcome to As Dad as It Gets, the Wonderwall podcast, where a bunch of dads talk about how much they love the song Wonderwall. I'm your host, Wonderwall Larry, and with me today, we have a guest along with Tom and David. We have John joining us today.
Hello.
Say hi, Tom and David.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Tom and David.
I see what you did there.
Classy.
It is. And I should have never told that joke because now I've got Wonderwall stuck in my head. And I just want to sing it.
You're the absolute worst because it's stuck in my head too. And
it's what you get for the joke.
That is. It's a price I pay.
Mm-hmm.
So today's topic is not Wonderwall. It is an interesting topic because there are two perspectives on this topic. There are the perspective from people without children and the perspective of people with children. And that's pretty much where it is. But the topic today is screen time. And it's interesting because before I became a parent, I always said I would not give my kid a tablet. And now here we are 3 years in, and my daughter has had a tablet for a year now. But we don't let her use it often. It's mostly just a thing where, okay, we need you to be occupied, but we can't occupy you. Like if we're out in public or
car
if we
rides.
just need a break.
All right, so be careful with car rides. My daughter gets car sick, and she threw up all over our tablet and the back of my head.
To be fair, you probably had that coming.
That's fair. I mean, I probably deserved it. I mess with her like that's my favorite pastime is messing with her. But yeah, that was not. It was all over the back of the seat in the van, all over my the back of my head. Like first thing I felt, I heard it and then felt warmth. Oh, it was great.
You don't want that
when you feel that warmth, like you know something's not right.
No.
The best part is we were out in the boonies, like on our way to my aunt's cottage on a lake, and we're way out there. We pull over to clean up, and a cop comes pulling up behind us, and he comes walking up like, "Can I help you guys with something?" And then I'm like, "Oh, my daughter just got car sick," and he saw the vomit all down my back and stuff, and he was just like, "Whoa."
Okay.
I cannot.
He's like, "All right, you're good. I'm out."
It's beyond my pay grade.
It was very much why is this person pulled over in the middle of nowhere? He can't be doing anything good. Oh, his daughter's like, he's like, yep,
That's
oh, bye. He bailed too right away. My wife was like, he's not even going to try to help. I was like, no.
I don't blame him.
The worst part of that story is the fact that you are driving as it happened. So you have been hit from behind and you can't let go of the wheel to react. You just have to white knuckle until you can pull over.
Yeah, sit there and wallow in it. Like,
So I just said, all I did was like, I just got warm. Don't tell me why. Just don't tell me why. Just don't do it. Do not say anything. Don't do anything. I pulled over. My daughter has a bad habit of throwing up on me, so it's happened more than one occasion.
Again, you probably deserve it. So
True. All right, so just be careful in the car with screen time.
Yeah. But in today's society, screens in general have just become ubiquitous with our lives. They're everywhere. This is a study that was done in 2023. The average person spends 6 hours and 58 minutes a day on screens connected to the internet. So 5 billion people or whatever spend 6 hours a day on the phone or on a screen looking at it.
Does that count work computers?
I guess
Yeah,
the
I
study
think
didn't
it's
go
just
into it.
I would
That's
imagine it's
true.
just general screen time.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, one, I skew that horribly. I work like easily 10 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day, and I'm staring at a screen the whole time.
Yeah, I work 8 hours a day staring at a screen. And then I come home and edit podcasts staring at a screen.
So you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we sit in front of a screen watching each other talk to ourselves.
Yeah, all my notes are on my phone. So children 8 to 18 spend on average 7.5 hours for entertainment alone, which amounts to 114 days a year. And if you want to break that down further, it's children's 8 to 10 spend around 6 hours a day. And that number just increases as they get older. So once they hit around 11 or so, they're spending 9 hours, and then 15 to 18 is 7 hours.
But that's just entertainment, you said?
That's just entertainment.
Okay, so some of the other hours are, like, I know, like, conditional learning and like other stuff like that, like kids are doing on laptops and tablets and stuff.
A lot of learning now is done on screen. But for kids, the way mostly Gen Z will spend their time on TikTok, YouTube, and Netflix, and then millennials tend to spend their time on, let's see, where do millennials spend their time? Social media and streaming. Gen Xers, social media and online searches. Boomers, online searches and banking. So as you age,
because they type like this.
That's really helpful for an audio situation.
Backspin.
Yeah. If you guys can't see, David and I are both using single fingers, like tic-tacking on our keyboards.
But one of these studies found that the biggest catalyst for screens was the pandemic. Devices,
I believe that,
Yeah.
Devices almost doubled in usage. Well, actually, they went up 60% because of the pandemic. Because people were looking, like they were doing school, work, all that. But for me, before I became a parent, I used to judge people in public who gave their kids an iPad. and now I understand it. So this is my official apology. I am sorry to anyone who I judged.
Yeah, I always make the joke that when older generation that had kids is like, oh man, we never would use that, and you wouldn't use it because you didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if you have it, I can tell you, my kids behave way better at a restaurant when they have the tablet than I did growing up. I was hell on wheels. Like if they could have handed me a tablet and not had to worry about me burning the place down, they would have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, my son can still find ways to burn the place down, even with the distraction.
Skill.
Yeah.
My parents just use violence to keep me in check.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed at that.
So the problem is for me, that wouldn't have done anything.
My dad was 6'2" and 300 pounds of muscle because he worked construction. It did a lot for me.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think I was spanked maybe 2 or 3 times that like I can recall. My parents learned very quickly that wasn't a deterrent for me. Like talking to me and letting me know like, hey, you messed up. This is what you did. This is what you should have done. And that went way further than any spanking or wooden spoon could have ever gone.
Yeah. My brother and I, we would bicker and fight like siblings. And I have no memory of my father ever making contact with me, but I'm the younger brother. All he had to do, and he was very good at it, was take the belt and do the snap. The snap you could hear across the house. And my brother, whatever we were doing, even if we weren't misbehaving, if we heard a sound that remotely sounded like that, we both went, straight ridge backs. Just nope, we're done.
We're done. We're not doing anything.
I don't know what we were doing. Sorry, we're done.
Man, I was putting laundry away. Oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to do that.
I was being good. But no, screens can be a useful tool. I mean, they can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like any tool, like a hammer can be used to create or destroy. Screens can do the same. For my daughter, we got her one of the Kindle kids tablets, the Amazon kid tablets.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, we put it on airplane. We download what she wants to play, or like the apps, the learning stuff, the books. And then we put it on airplane mode and we let her run around with it because it was like $50 if she breaks it. It's not that bad. But so far, they are pretty, like they can take a beating.
That's good to know.
Yeah, those, especially like the ones with the rubber casing around the outside and everything like that. Like,
yeah, the kids version. My son has put that thing through the rigors and it's still holding up.
No.
I was going to say, like, I could throw that thing against the wall as hard as I want, and it will be just fine.
He threw it out of our minivan once, so.
So yeah, a little bit harder than me throwing it against a wall.
We were only doing like 20, but
still. That yeah. But John, this is your episode. Sorry, I kind of took it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I was just really kind of curious about who has what, who uses what, how often. Like, I'm not going to say I'm high and mighty when I say I don't let my kids use tablets because we don't have a tablet. Tablets cost money, so we just don't have one.
Yeah.
Regrettably, my son is 7 years old. He knows how to get into our phones now. So he, I made the wise choice not to put any games on my phone. So he rarely takes mine, except that I have I have Disney Plus on there, so occasionally he takes it to do that. My wife made the mistake of letting him convince her to put like 20 games on hers, and so It is very common for my wife to come to me in the house and be like, "Have you seen my phone?" And 9 times out of 10, it's because my son has taken it, and he has not just taken it, but has hidden away somewhere in the house with the volume all the way down, taken it.
I just
so
imagine
he can find it later for himself.
Yeah,
without you taking it away. Yeah,
I just imagine Gollum.
pretty much. Pretty much. He has. We have found him like hunched down in a corner, and when you try and go get the phone back, he jerks it away and be like, "No, mine." It's like.
He's just
oh man, that was perfect.
That was horrifying, and that was amazing.
That's my only talent.
You've got other things you can do.
Impressions. That's it.
Yeah.
So, luckily, my daughter, she's 2. She has no idea about any of this stuff yet. All she knows is that the remote makes the TV go, and she is to the age now where she just hammers buttons, which does more damage than good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Harrison is. He knows what the remote does, but he doesn't know what buttons on the remote do what. So he'll just pop, 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 and what he's watching will stop playing, and then he gets mad, that it stops playing.
So mad.
And then I try and take the remote to put whatever it was back on, and he gets mad because I'm trying to take the remote.
Luckily, my daughter understands the phrase "daddy fix," and then she hands me the remote. But yeah,
Harrison the other day just started saying "Dada help."
Yeah. There you go.
And like it melted my heart the first few times. I was like, oh, like, yes, of course I will fix this for you.
Yeah, this horrible mistake that you have made. Yes, I will save you.
Yeah.
I don't know how my daughter does it, but she is constantly bringing up the caption option that reads out loud all the captions.
My son used to do that too.
And it will take...
It drove me nuts. It took me like 2 days to figure out how to turn it off the first time.
Yes. It still takes me a minute or so to turn it off. And she just does it in seconds. And we're like, what are you doing? How are you doing?
It's like, how do you do this?
Yeah. Up, down, left, right, up, down, B.
The same thing. She'll be like, "Dada fix," and I'm like, "I don't know how you did it to undo it. What has happened here?" But
she's just like, "No, fix it."
Yeah. So I don't try and say I'm all high and mighty when it comes to screen time because we don't have tablets. The phone I try to police on my son, but the TV is probably the biggest offender with streaming and everything. And we only have Netflix and Disney, and both of those have, you can make an account just for your kids where they limit. Yeah. And Disney, I feel like, does a fairly good job of limiting what can pop up. Netflix is the one that you got to be careful because
Moana doesn't come up on the kids like Disney account.
Yeah, things that don't make sense not popping up don't pop up. But Netflix,
Cars 1 and 2 shows up on the kids, but Cars 3 doesn't.
Because the ratings.
It is wild, like what they try and like regulate.
Yeah,
but if surprisingly, one streaming service that is really good for kids profiles is HBO Max.
Yeah, theirs is fantastic.
Not only do the ratings fit perfectly, but they also have a feature on the kids profile. So if you're in the kids profile, it will lock it in there so they can't get out of it. Because with like Netflix and stuff like that, you can just
they can switch over
and go to somebody else's profile.
Yeah, my son is.
No, they can't do it.
Yeah, my son knows not to go into the adult ones because he did it once by accident, and the first thing that popped up was a scary movie trailer, and it freaked him out, and he doesn't want to do that again. Yeah.
So I'm worried because my daughter doesn't get scared by that kind of stuff. When she was like 6 months old, not even 6 months old. She was like a month old. The one thing that got her to go to sleep the quickest was the sounds of the Evil Dead movie.
That, and then weren't you saying the other day, like she watches The Ring and calls the girl the silly TV girl?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay.
I don't know who that was.
That's
but
amazing.
That must have been like another dad in one of the other groups
Yeah.
that we go that I'm in. But like, yeah, their kid apparently calls the girl from The Ring the silly TV girl.
That's amazing.
when that kind of fits in with screen time because she comes out of the screen.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect example
When that
of
movie-
too much screen time right there.
When that movie came out, I was in high school, I think, or around high school age. I remember watching it and then laying in bed and staring at the TV as it was blank screen. And I was like, nope, I can't do this. And I turned the TV around.
Oh, that's when you know a movie's gotten
But-
to you well.
Yeah. That's why I still can't watch Candyman.
Oh,
Like, because apparently I'm a middle-aged black woman living in the suburbs of Chicago, and
he's going to
like,
attack you.
exactly. It's one of those things, like, it still scares the ever-living stuff out of me.
But
So at our house, the TV is on almost all the time, streaming something, but my kids aren't sitting there watching it. I have the ringing in the ears, and if there's no
Nice.
noise, that's what it's called. And if there's no noise, the ringing just gets louder. So we'll throw on something. It's usually either Bluey or Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra, and it just keeps going. But the kids are still running around playing. They might stop and watch it for a minute, but they're still going around playing. We have the toys out in the living room, and I just can't do this silence because if they get silent at all, it just gets super loud. Then my son has a tablet, and I mean, he maybe uses it like an hour a week. He doesn't even ask for it all the time. It usually is, we charge it, he'll use it for a day or two, it dies, I forget to plug it in, then he forgets about it. And then my daughter is 9, and she actually has her own cell phone. But it's because I'm her stepdad, so she bounces between here and her dad's house, and we have 50-50 custody. We want to be able to contact her. But I have to say, we have Verizon, and if you're ever looking at getting your kids a phone, I would only go through Verizon. They have you can add a kid line for like $10 a month total.
what?
The iPhone is free.
oh,
Like they gave us like a 12 mini for free, and then it limits where I get a report every week of on average how much time that she spent. You have to put in a parental password to download anything, so she has to come up to us and like, can I download this? She can't. You can limit access like to every different possible app you could think of online.
wow.
Like you can allow this, but not this, and not this. And then it only allows 20 numbers to be called or text, but you have to put them in the phone, and you have a parental portal that you have to go in and also put the phone number in there. And if it's not on both of them, they can't contact her.
Wow.
So even if somebody got her number somehow, they can't message her.
That's
So
Good.
it made our her great grandma super mad because I put their number in wrong. So she's texting her like every like 3-4 days and never getting a response back. And then she came up here and visited and saw my daughter on her phone. And she's like, so you do look at your phone? And she's like, yeah. She's like, why do you never respond to me? And she's like, when have you ever messaged me? I flipped 2 of the digits around. So she got super mad at her. But the Verizon phone, like I said, it's like $5 or $10 a month. And like, I just let her go with it. I don't ever take it because like you can turn off social media. You can turn off Messenger. So even if she tries to access it, you can't.
wow. I might be sold on Verizon right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been on family plan with AT&T for a while, but that might have just sold me over
Yeah.
to Verizon.
I
Like if
said
I can
that-
keep my number, like that's it. It's done. It's sold.
Yeah,
No, you get to keep your number. Like, I'm not even a huge fan of Verizon, like from a service beforehand, but that kid line, what they allow you to do and stuff like that is just fantastic.
my son, he's 7, and he sees other kids at school with phones, and he's been bugging us. When do I get to have a phone? Luckily, we have a couple of older nephews who one's going to high school, one's middle school. And we're like, well, when did they get a phone? They got a phone when they were old enough to go places on their own. And then they had a need for the phone to contact their parents. So it's like, there you go.
So my daughter's also in ballet, right? So we just drop her off, and then sometimes it runs longer and sometimes it doesn't. And so she's got to be able to get a hold of us. So she's had that for like probably a year and a half now.
Well, that's a good justification, though.
Wow.
Yeah. Something like that. Like I got my cell phone when I was 16.
Yeah, when I was driving, that's when
18.
I got mine.
You probably had a Nokia.
Yeah, it was the tiny little thing.
Yeah, I had the brick.
Yeah.
So my first cell phone was a gas station cell phone, didn't even have a brand. And text cost 1 minute per text.
Oh. Yeah.
Mine was I had one of the Nextel walkie-talkies.
I don't.
I still have one of my razors, actually. I'll have to find it.
I don't remember what mine was. It was a little rectangular thing, and it could call my parents, my grandparents, and 911, and it had Snake on it. And that was it.
You had a Nokia, buddy.
I mean, it might have been. That sucker fell down a million times and kept going. So, yeah.
Well, they used to have those Migo phones where you had 5 numbers and you couldn't dial anything, which was good for kids, especially when cell phones first came out. But cell phones have since evolved. So Verizon hopefully will sponsor us
because we're promoting them so heavily on this episode.
I have Verizon and I didn't know they did that.
We didn't know they did it either. She was asking for a phone. We realized that she probably needed it when she's bouncing between her dad's house and here. And if she wants to get a hold of us on a day that she's at her dad's house, she's got to get his phone. And then when she's at ballet with her shows and stuff like that, there's like 3 hours in between shows, and she just wants to stay and hang out with her friends. But that means we don't see her for an entire Saturday. No one of our parents are around. So that drove us nuts. So it's like, and you can ping right where they're at, just like they had an Apple AirTag. Right?
That's the biggest thing right there.
So it's just like that. You could see exactly where they're at. So we set it up where it's like limits if she were to leave like the area of her school, it would notify us that she was in this outside of this area during the times that she's supposed to be there.
That is really cool. Like if it you get to set a perimeter for, hey, you're supposed to be within here for this amount of time, and it notifies you like
I get a message from the app, hey, outside of this radius. So because the first time I set it up, I didn't set it up right, and it was also going on summer break, and so I was getting a notification like every day. I was like, I know she's not there. I was like, how do I turn this thing off?
I know she's not where this is supposed to be. Like she's right next to me. Stop.
Then when I turned it back on at the next school year, I forgot to move the location because she changed schools. So I was still getting the notification and I couldn't figure out how to change it. So the app, this has some great features, not completely intuitive, where you know how to move stuff really easy, because it took me a couple of days before I figured out how to move it. But
me and my wife use the Live 360 just because sometimes there's times where one of us will be at work late and can't talk on the phone, and it's like a panic. It's like something's happened. They're typically off by now, so we just got the Live 360 so that we can see each other's location and make sure we're okay. And the what is it? GPS on that is not very accurate. So I had to take my sister to the doctor. In doing so, I had to drive past Callie, my daughter, her daycare. And so it will keep each other updated. So my wife got a notification that I was at daycare. And then she's like, he's not supposed to be picking her up right now. And then she got a notification that I was at the doctor's office. So she panicked.
Oh, God.
And she was like, what happened? Is our daughter okay? Like in her head, I went to daycare and I drove to the doctor. But when in reality, I just happened to drive past the daycare and took my sister to the doctor.
Yeah.
So things like that need a little bit of fine tuning, but it does offer a little bit of peace of mind. And as far as screen time, really technology can either help us or hurt us. It's really up to us to choose how we use it. When you're looking at screen time for your child, try to pick something that helps them grow and learn. There are a lot of educational apps. ABC Mouse is one of them. Hooked on Phonics is still a thing.
They're also fun. Just want to put that out. Like, I play them. They're fun.
They're fun for me. Yeah, absolutely.
It's because you're old.
And my son loves the PBS Kids games and everything. They're educational, and at least once or twice a week he'll be on that thing.
Yeah, so they do offer a lot of good benefits. They help with memory, learning, hand-eye coordination, if used appropriately. They are not babysitters.
Yeah.
So don't try to use it like that.
They will give you a 10-minute break if you need a mental break, though.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Most of the time, like, it's not my son who needs a nap or a rest. It's me. And like, okay, like, here's a little bit of milk. Here's a pacifier. I'm going to put you down in your crib. And I'm going to make sure that, like, I don't have a hissy fit.
Yeah. When I have both boys and the 1-year-old is really struggling and my 4-year-old wants attention and you see it's overwhelming, I'm like, here's the tablet. You sit with the headphones on.
Do this.
I'm going to get this one for a nap. Like, don't be afraid to use it as a tool. Don't rely on it. It's not a babysitter. It's just another tool in the toolbox.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let Miss Rachel take the reins for a second.
That's every morning, like during breakfast, before our first nap. Like, that's what Harrison watches. Like, we'll watch either Miss Rachel or Paisley's Corner with Silly Miss Lily, or my friend who we're gonna have on next week, maybe this weekend. But yeah, we'll watch one of those like educational kid videos, like just to, hey, I need some time to myself because like I didn't sleep well, like you didn't sleep well, any number of combination of things.
Yeah, I've also found them really helpful for like you made the bad decision to go to a sit down restaurant with a 2-year-old. And it's like, it's going to be 15 minutes before the food gets here. Here, phone, Bluey, watch for a couple episodes until the food gets here. My daughter will just be ecstatic for that.
Another tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
I make it very clear. It's like, okay, the moment the food gets here and she has looked at the food, that phone gets slipped away.
Yep. Let me like kind of sneak this away from you. Hey, look, here's the quesadilla.
Exactly. And she's like, oh, yum. Okay, cool. We're good now. I did want to have a little bit of fun. I don't know how much time we have left. I want to have a little bit of fun and ask, besides, obviously, we all enjoy having Bluey for our kids, what are other shows that you would highly recommend for your kids? Like David, as you said, I believe Avatar earlier for your older kid, right?
Well, that's mostly so I can watch it.
But I mean, from,
I have to stop
I-
it every so often because then my son thinks he can airbend and beat somebody up.
I kind of like that he can think he can airbend, but nothing happens and he's not actually hurting anyone. As long as he doesn't do it in front of a bully who then is not impressed. Yeah. But now my son and I went and binged all of it 2 years ago, and he absolutely loved it, except then he started throwing, dirt at other kids. But that's a different thing. Besides that, I think it's a perfectly harmless and fun and, well written, good humor, good message show.
Yeah.
The other one my son watches a lot that I really like, the other two, Wally Kazam is super great. It's a Nickelodeon one. They teach, like, every episode he has a magic stick, and he gets like a specific sound that he has to do, and then he can like use it like a magic wand and can come up with anything. That one's pretty
really
great.
Hard not to make a joke.
and then Blaze and the Monster Machine.
Yeah, Blaze makes a reappearance every once in a while at our home.
Which you got to give Wally Kazam a chance, because that one's actually pretty good.
Here lately, we've been watching a lot of Sesame Street.
Can't go wrong there.
And they actually have some things that I find funny. There's one where they do like little skits and stuff, and Elmo was president, and the puppet walks up to him and says, "Elmo, the Pentagon's online," and Elmo's like, "The Pentagon? What's that?" And let me see hang on, let me look it up because I did screenshot it.
It's a literal Pentagon like shape.
Oh, it's like a puppet Pentagon
right?
character.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fair.
Because the joke was very very airplane-esque. Like
Don't call me Shirley.
Oh God, I need to find it.
That just reminds me, there are so many movies that I desperately want to show my son, but he is not ready for.
Definitely not ready for Airplane.
Like Airplane, Monty Python, things like that. It's like one day we'll get there.
Okay.
So in a few more years, you'll be able to watch this and appreciate
and you'll look at Dad and be like, "What's wrong with you?"
This little sheep that's supposed to be one of the Secret Service is like, "Sir, it's the Pentagon." And Elmo's like, "The Pentagon? Well, what is it?" And the sheep's like, "It's a shape with 5 sides and 5 angles, but that's not important right now."
Oh my
and I was
gosh.
Like, that's airplane humor.
That's perfectly. And your child looked at you like, "Why is Daddy laughing at that?"
Yeah. And I was just dying from it.
That's brilliant.
So Sesame Street has surprisingly made its comeback.
You mentioned Blaze, and Blaze, my son liked when he was little, and now that he's older, it's reappeared because now he understands like the mathematics of it, and is actually getting into that now. Like the understanding that, you're doing like real life problem solving in this show. It's still a silly show, but it's like, oh no, I actually understand like the physics they're doing now, and he's blown away by it.
Oh, that's cool.
So I have to say, overall, Disney probably has like way more entertaining shows. But Nickelodeon by far has the more educational shows for kids.
Yeah.
If you watch, that's where Wally Kazam is, and Blaze and Bubble Guppies, and like they're all
Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies, they come up.
That's what I call when I have, like, if I ate too much spicy food the night before.
Have you
and
never
my
watched
stomach
Bubble
is,
Guppies?
No, I've
Bubble
never
Guppies
watched
is fantastic. Oh my God.
Bubble Guppy Guppies.
That song will get stuck in your head. That or the
What time is it? Time for lunch.
My son used to love that joke until I turned it on its head and used it on him all the time. And it's like, Dad, what time is it? It's time for lunch. No, Dad, what time is it? It's time for lunch.
I say that all day, every day.
But it's great because one of the characters in that show is autistic, so it teaches kids about autism.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Educational wise, Nickelodeon hands down has a beat. Entertainment wise, it's Disney.
Yep.
Yeah. They have, like, at the very least, they have so many shorts for, like, different, like, Finding Nemo or, like, whatever other, like, Pixar movie or whatever. Like, Disney Plus has a short for it, and they've got, like, 20, 30 episodes.
They also have those sensory videos.
Yeah.
Which is good. But we're pushing close to time. Actually, we're over time.
We're a little bit over.
Technology is a tool, is the main thing we're trying to get at. Just be sure to do your research and figure out what best fits your child's needs. And just check out Verizon, apparently.
If you're trying to get your kid a cell phone and you think that you have a need for one, but are worried about the control that you would have.
Yeah. So Verizon, give us money because that's about as dad as it gets.
If you enjoy our content, please give us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you want to keep up with the latest dad jokes and memes, find us on Instagram at AsDadAsItGetsPod. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at AsDadAsItGets@gmail.com.